Well, it's time to start the model Shipways Brig Syren. Previous video I did an unboxing of this. Now we're going to get started on it. First thing we need to do in chapter 1 is get the bulkhead former, which is this big piece right here underneath, and a 3/32 by 1/16 basswood strip. I've already singled this out from the rest of them. This will need to be soaked so it can curve around this front. What's going to happen is this strip is going to go. The strip is going to go on the bottom of the keel, false keel. It's going to be centered up. It's not as wide, and with this, we're going to be able to cut our rabbit line. I'll get this soaking so it can go around the front. And in the meantime, we need to get some of this char off of here. Doesn't need to be all off of here, but just anything that's loose. Have to do it on the stern as well. That should be enough. Make sure we're smooth. Make sure we cut it away from the frame here and here. Get my glue pot ready. Okay, I think that'll be wet enough. So this thing will go centered up. Oh yeah, that's wet enough. Get that to form up. Glue it in place, and then I'll get it all clamped in place and let it dry. So I have the rabbit strip glued in place, taped in place. I'm going to let that dry overnight, just using wood glue on that. Once that's done, I can come back and I can cut this rabbit. There's a line right here. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. The line goes along all along here to cut the rabbit angle to. So you'll cut it from that line down to that keel strip or the rabbit strip. That should give me the proper amount of space in here for the planks to come into. And then they'll be buried between the frames and the stem, keel, and stern. So with that, we're done until this completely dries tomorrow. So I'm back. I've gone ahead and did the rabbit along this edge. Looks pretty good. Gives me a nice fit with the keel. Allow this beam to go in, or first planking to go in, and line up nicely. Still need to do it on the other side. So I'll do that now. And all I did is I use one of my little carving tools here. Nice and sharp, and I can just go right along this edge, follow the line down, and shave off where it needs to come off for the rabbit. It makes really quick work of it. Be able to take it all off. So I finished shaping off the rabbit line. I also took the stem, sanded it down the front so that it fits. Some of this dust out of here, so that it fits the figurehead. Doesn't have to be a perfect fit. Just needs to fit so she's on there, because after all, these things would have been shifting around anyway. So the fit wouldn't be perfect. I have one spot here I need to fix, but I can do that prior to painting. I just used my carving tool to carve this down, then sanded it down to make it smooth and make sure the mermaid fits. With that, she can go back in the box, and the stem and the keel can be glued in place. I want to cut the keel off so it's not quite as long, hanging over. Get this front cut and glue it in place. And let that sit overnight and dry. The first thing I need to do is give me a rough cut on the keel so it's longer than I need, but not so long that it's getting in the way of doing other work. Find my mark, give it a cut. If you don't have one of these saws, go ahead and get one. This one here is Zona, and it is fantastic for doing nice miter cut. Don't get the cheap X-Acto one, get a good one. Next thing is I need to figure out this cut right here. Looks to be about that angle. And hope for the best I get straight up and down. There's that. Pretty close. I'm going to call that good enough, because at the end of the day, well, the end of the ship build, this is all going to be covered with copper. You never see it. So I'll go ahead and get that glued in place, let it sit overnight, and come back to the next step, which is next chapter. Glue it, getting the frames out and gluing them in place, and the bow fillers and decking on one level. Chapter 3 is the gun ports and sweeps. Put that glued in place, come back.